And I'd like to call the Town of Cedar Lake Plan Commission February 19, 2025 public meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, gosh, no, thank you. Loud and proud.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Hunley?
Here.
Ms. Dessauer? Present. Mr. Wilkie?
Present.
Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Oliphant?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Swanby is absent. Mr. Conley?
Here.
Mr. Kubiak is absent. Ms. Hagan is present.
All right, minutes from the October 2nd, 2024, October 2nd, 2024 special meeting. We have the work session and the special meeting, I guess. That was the work session, right? October 2nd?
Yes.
Those were distributed. If there's no corrections, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Dessauer. I'll second. Second by Mr. Becker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer? Yes. Mr. Wilkie?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Public hearing, ordinance number 1509, zoning ordinance, chapter 17, site plan, text amendment. Opening remarks, is that you, Mr. Austin?
That's up to you, sir.
Yeah, lay it out.
Perfect. Chapter 17 of your zoning ordinance, 1402, is subject to this public hearing. The chapter pertains to site plan improvements and regulations. I've given you tonight a latest, a hot off the press, first page of the schedule, showing some language I added to that specific provision based upon comments had and review that I had with Councilman Rich, and kind of taken in all the comments that we've received and obtained over the past short period of time. What I did in the first paragraph was kind of an attempt to meet your primary concern, what seemed to be your primary concern, and that is what do we do if, why do we have a site plan, I guess? And the examples became the reason why the drafting occurred. I shared that with Rich today. We talked about this at some length. The general rule is what's established by what's in the yellow. And I want to state that, and then I want to talk about it. As permitted by the provisions of Indiana Code 36-7-4-1400 through 1406 inclusive, as provided for herein, the site plan review shall be required on all commercial and industrial zoning districts, as outlined hereafter, and under any requirements or conditions established by the Town Planning and Building Department, provided, however, that the site plan review requirements may be waived in whole or in part only, subject to the waiver approval of the Plan Commission. That was drafted so that we had a general rule established. You legislate the rule, not the exception. I wanted to make sure as we were drafting that we made the rule first. And that rule is there shall be for commercial and industrial properties being developed and being created and established, that the site plan review process and regulations for same are to be followed. Now that was what was understood, and some of you were here 4 years ago when this ordinance was being crafted. We talked about site plan and the like. What happened since then is that there's been some confusion as to whether folks bringing projects in commercial and industrial zoning are under the same processes, criteria, specifications, and conditions. There are examples, I'm not going to go over those examples of what caused this to occur, but there were examples had that pushed your directions and the town council, frankly, also, to establish a rule and take that rule and then apply it going forward, so that our staff, such as Tim and his team, are uniformly applying how they interpret and utilize these regulations for development purposes, permit purposes, inspection purposes, and the like. So, Rich, I'm going to ask you, did I miss anything about the general exception, or the general rulemaking?
You did not. And as you said, you know, I called you after seeing this for clarification on it. You know, like you said, not to give the examples, but what triggered this, like businesses, was the main cause. You know, in the past, if it was same zoning, it can't be looked at that way. You know, because if it goes from realty to fast food, that needs to be reviewed by Plan Commission. You know, solely for safety, traffic flow, and everything like that. So that's basically what that first chapter and the whole purpose of amending this.
The Indiana Code citation is important also. The planning laws of Indiana acknowledge that under the 1400 to 1406 sections, that development agreements and site plans are validated, provided that you provide some criteria for that validation. Again, the intent is that there be uniform rulemaking, not arbitrary or not adjusting it on the fly, not doing anything other than everybody having the same rule book, the same scorecard in front of them. So that's what became of the first section in this proposed recommendation tonight. I'm happy to talk about that. I wouldn't think examples tonight would be the thing to do, but if you want to talk about that, you may, of course. Public hearing.
Okay.
Jerry's got his hand up. I don't know if he wants.
Jerry?
Yes, John, I just wanted to clarify in Chapter 17, the requirements for site plan approval by the Planning Commission, include for business and commercial and industrial. What has been in that document before we started talking about it. Is that correct, Mr. Austin?
It is. It's been in the book and the laws of the town of Cedar Lake since March 1st, 2022.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. President,
yes,
I guess I wanted to say one more thing, and that is the waiver language is new to the last time you received a draft for review. That waiver was inserted for your consideration as a way out or flexibility, if you will, to the process, if appropriate. Waiver gives the Planning Commission a chance, just like on a plat. The plat comes here and there's a developer sitting or standing and advocating in front of you and seeks a waiver of sidewalks or some other type of waiver requirement, or request actually, for a requirement that is black and white in the subdivision control ordinance. The Plan Commission has the authority, the jurisdiction, and the legality of being able to waive. I drafted and inserted that waiver into this portion of your zoning ordinance based upon that law. And by the way, it's completely discretionary in the Plan Commission as to whether or not a waiver is granted or not.
Okay, now, we need a reading of the ordinance by, title only. Would you do that, Mr. Parker?
Yep. Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1509. An ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana for zoning purposes and amending town zoning ordinance number 1402 being the zoning ordinance of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana. Passed and adopted by the town council of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana on the first day of March 2022 and all amendments passed subsequent thereto.
Thank you. Are there any remonstrators for or against this ordinance? Any remonstrators? Second call. Third call. Demonstrations are closed. Plan Commission have a discussion.
Yes. Was this thing circulated so the public could see it, other than what's in our package? Is this an additional document that you just gave us tonight?
I gave it to you tonight, Bob.
So I think we need to defer this for continue the public hearing to our next meeting so the public will have the opportunity to look it over.
Well, it's not a subsequent change.
But the public hasn't seen it.
It's gonna hold some things up for some people.
I want to take care of the people out in the town.
Jerry, you wanna speak?
I do. I just wanted to, kind of reiterate that this has been around for a couple of years. This has, come to the surface because of clarity issues and, usage issues. The waivers are always gonna be in front of us because the site plan will always be in front of us when it comes to commercial and industrial applications.
Okay. Any other discussion on Bob's comment?
Mr. President, to your point, Mr. Carnahan, first of all, we've been working on this over the last 4 weeks. Not every minute of every day, but we've been working on it, number one. Number two, this matter does come to the to the town council. Your actions tonight are not to decide, but to recommend. So you will have a favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to the town council. And this will be an agenda item at the appropriate time on the council agenda for action decision by the town council of this recommendation and content.
My only concern is the people that live here in the town didn't have an opportunity to see this, and there might have been some remonstrators either for or against it, which I don't know.
They will let their town council.
You
Yeah.
still have that opportunity.
I know.
For the next 2 weeks.
So if this doesn't, I understand the time constraint. Thank you for clarifying that too, Mr. Austin, because that makes a difference. So if we decide to, if it gets set for a favorable recommendation tonight by us, it doesn't make it true for another 2 weeks until the town council then votes it in.
Correct.
So the public would have the opportunity over the next 2 weeks to review and state any concerns at the town council meeting.
They certainly will.
Then it wouldn't hold up anything in the meantime. Or else we have to wait another month plus 2 weeks.
That's
Because
right.
we wouldn't approve it or send it for a favorable recommendation for an entire month, and then it would be 2 more weeks before the town council would.
That's
So
right.
6 weeks.
Town council also has the option and discretion to remand if there was a room full of folks who were opposed to the high heavens, to remand the ordinance back to you.
Gary?
Yeah, I think the public, in 2 weeks can probably review a 3 or 4 page document without any difficulties.
Will this be posted on our
Can be.
website?
Of course it can be. It should be on the town's website with the
Well,
agenda for the
that would be
next,
the easiest way for them to see it.
without question.
Bob, what say you on that?
Rest of you make your decision, I've decided what I'm going to do.
So you have no follow-up comment, okay. Any other discussion on it? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Tim,
What?
I got one question.
Yes.
Was there any provision for any of the approved PUD sites, or I might have missed that in the beginning, but this
Well,
was.
PUD is not site plan.
Huh?
PUD is not site plan. PUD is PUD, zoning district classification. Development plan is within the body of that. There's an underlying zoning district classification. Different, it's a different animal.
So a commercial PUD is not considered commercial zoning?
Absolutely it is, and is subject to these regs.
Tim, if I may, that would fall under that first paragraph with the waiver then coming in front of Plan Commission. Summerlin's commercial, we know what's approved, not approved in that area. So if that comes in, that's where the waiver process would take place,
Or could take place.
or could take place.
And it's written because you had flexibility in it, where you had no flexibility before.
Correct.
So even though we have a PUD that's approved for certain, or for exactly what it's approved for, and somebody comes in for that, they still have to come to the Plan Commission to make sure.
They'll be in front of the plan commission, but they will never escape the plan commission. PUD is a development agreement, development plan, a contract zoning, and it will be here, as you know, there'll be plats, there'll be site plans, there'll be conditions of approval or not.
I mean, I understand all of that part of it, I guess, once the building is existing, and, you know, I mean, I get all
Well,
these.
this will happen long before the building exists. This process
I
is
understand that,
a
but I'm
paper
saying,
process.
if somebody comes in for a occupancy on a building that's already been through this board with planning and the whole deal to meet the PUD requirements, and now, next year, they leave and another company comes to occupy that building with a very detailed set of PUD guidelines that are already existing, because we have a couple of them. Like, I mean, they still, I guess I'm just asking for a clarification. They would still have to come here with a potential site plan approval before being able to occupy that said.
I don't know how more clear I can make it. Site plan review shall be required in all commercial and industrial zoning districts. Shall.
I'm just asking.
And I'm telling you,
Yes.
shall. And those items will go hand in glove in the planning process here, and everybody will do the same thing. If this ordinance is to be followed.
Okay, Tim?
Yeah, just a question, I guess I just completely don't understand the point of going through the whole PUD process now, I guess, just because I thought that was to alleviate future, I mean, we were clear on what we were approving and not approving, so.
that would be so,
But,
like, detailed around that specific use though. So if they have to come in front of us, that means that the use changed. Am I wrong?
Could be.
yeah, it could be.
And
Could
so
be,
then,
or- I guess
like, that has to be
that's why
black,
the
it has to be
waiver
black and
option.
white. I get what you're saying, we spend so much time on the PUD, but it's attached to the site plan, so if that's changing, then it all has to change, maybe.
Well, I like the closing statement where it says that the requirements may be waived in whole or in part. So if you had a situation and it affected very little, you could approve the very little. You don't have to, you could waive other portions of it. And, I mean, we actually have people like that have issues that will probably be brought before the plan commission for use, and all they're doing is occupying a building that another person occupied. And it's similar use. But I think they need to come to introduce themselves to you and ask you guys, you could ask them, what are you using it for? You know, we're not saying not to do that. We're just saying the site plan can be waived. You know, because they're just a renter. You know, they're not changing anything. So.
That's correct.
I'll make a motion to send a favorable recommendation for zoning ordinance 1509, chapter 17, site plans text amendment to the town council.
I have a motion to send a favorable approval to the town council by Mr. Parker. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Becker.
Jerry, did you want to say something?
I was gonna second it.
Okay.
You can give it to Jerry.
He just wanted to second it.
Oh,
Get his hand up. Go ahead and give it to Jerry.
I have a motion by Mr. Parker to approve, send a favorable, seconded by Mr. Wilkening. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
No.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapur?
Yes, motion carries 6-1. Old business. Simone, Railside, Lot 17. Owner petitioner, M&M Warehouse LLC, 421 Brookshire Court, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385. Vicinity of 13631 Alexander Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting site plan approval for Shell Building at Railside Business Park, Lot 17. Name and address for the records, please.
Good evening, Mike D. Simone, 421 Brookshire Court, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385.
Okay. Give us a quick rundown again.
So last time we were here, we had a bunch of comments that we needed to get changed and resubmit our site plan. So those changes have been made and submitted. There was some more detail needed on the lighting, so we submitted that. And the stormwater, the SWIP documents didn't match up what was on the actual plan, so we made those changes. And, I mean, there was a lot of comments that we adjusted, so all of those are now fixed.
I don't have a resubmittal from your engineer.
You don't? I submitted it to you. You know,
Doug called me, I don't know, a couple days ago, and I called him back, he never called me back. So, I'm kinda surprised to hear that they were done, but I don't have a submittal.
well, can I give it to you right this second then?
No. I mean, you can, but I won't have time to look at it, so.
Well, all
Do you know
those-
when it was submitted?
Yeah, on Friday last week. I submitted to Terry, and then Terry forwarded them over to you.
I don't think I have anything. Check my email.
For these major changes, I'm trying to think. Parking lot had to be pulled back some.
Yeah, the handicap spots had to be pulled back outside the building setback line. Some of the stormwater calculations were not matching up, so those were adjusted. More detail on the lighting, more detail on the sidewalk and the curbs. Some of the catch basins were all the same, so we adjusted those.
Yeah, it was effectively a 4-page letter issued on the 2nd. No, the comments weren't huge, but there were a decent amount of them.
But you don't have a report.
I don't. I never got anything. Sorry.
You didn't send it to him, Terry?
It was in his email,
Yeah.
so he'd sent it, and, the only comment that I had for him was the one comment, but, I don't know what to tell you other than that, Bob.
But Don didn't, you didn't.
He says he doesn't have it,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Did Doug send it out, Omar?
No, I just, I emailed them to Terry, and I thought Terry was gonna forward them to you
Okay.
after that.
I don't have anything. Normally, if it's coming out of McMahon, they'll send it directly to me, but I didn't get anything from them either.
Yeah, well, I think Doug's still laid up at home, so.
Yeah, I was surprised that he called me, to be honest with you, so.
I think he's a busybody and can't, not stay away from work, so,
2 weeks give you time to review it?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the comments weren't, huge, they could be addressed pretty quickly, so I hope they will be, but.
Have it on a special meeting for the work session, just give you time to review it and not hold him up for a month.
yeah. I mean, I'll submit it to you right now off my phone, and then you can look at them next week.
Yeah, I'll look at them as soon as I
Okay.
can. We're gonna go for a special public meeting, I mean, it's March 4th,
We don't need
right?
to get until the first Wednesday of the next month, so it would have to be the 2 weeks.
March 5th. So yeah, if we can have something and we can review it, we can turn around a letter in time. So.
Okay.
Well, I'm okay with a special meeting in 2 weeks, as long as Don gets the
Okay.
data he needs and reviews it. So,
Okay, assuming everything's correct and to your satisfaction, can I start the permitting process?
That would be up to this commission and potentially the building department.
I don't wanna proceed ahead of approvals.
I wouldn't apply for the permit, just kinda get it together at least, and as soon as we get the site plan approval, submit the permit that day too.
Well, I mean, if you wanna go in and fill out the permits or what have you, we can't stop you there.
Okay,
The building department just won't issue them until,
site plan
you
approval,
get approvals through the commission.
okay. So,
So, you have the paperwork done, you're just waiting for approvals. I don't see any problem with that.
okay.
Do we have any other discussion?
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna be adding just a special session to the March, what is it? March 5th date,
Yeah, at the end of the work session,
then we'll do that on that time.
yeah, it'll be a
So it's
special
just a
meeting
2-week
after
delay.
the work session.
For this one so far, hopefully, there's not another one.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of special meetings, but,
No,
March 4th,
but,
March 5th.
March 4th?
No, I'm sorry, it's on the agenda, it's March 4th, it is March 5th.
Okay.
okay.
What time?
It'd be the 6 o'clock one.
6, but it'll be the end of the meeting.
No, in 2 weeks, we start at 7.
No,
No,
6.
6.
6.
Oh my
Six.
gosh, I'll be quick.
March 5th at 6.
Yeah, March 5th, right. I don't think it says, it does say the 4th.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, I'll entertain a motion to refer this to a special meeting on, March,
Jerry wants to talk.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Terry.
Mr. President, I wanted some clarity on the screening. This is the far lot to the north,
Mhm.
is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a little bit of loose discussion at the work session regarding screening on the north side of the property. Also, storage outside on the property. The screening is going to have to be 6 feet, is that correct, Don?
Yes, that's a
Okay,
minimum.
And there
Between
should
6
be
and 8.
nothing, and there should be nothing piled higher than the screening, correct?
15 feet. It's gotta be covered.
There you go. He knows the PUD better than I
Okay,
do.
15 feet, and that has to be totally screened in.
No, it's just gotta be covered like a hoop house. Like if it was a landscape person, they would have those concrete blocks, and then they'd have to put a little hoop over the top of it.
Okay, what I'm talking about are, steel racks full of pipe and pallets and building material and anything else. It can't be higher than that screen, correct?
It can't be higher than 15 feet, and if it is 15 feet, it has to be covered, like with a screen over the top of it, or some sort of little roof.
So Don, he can have a 10-foot pile of stuff and a 6-foot fence?
I need to check the PUD to give you an exact answer. I don't know that detail.
Can't we, sorry.
Well, we can answer that in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in the PUD
I think
agreement.
it's 8
Yeah,
feet
you
can do
without a
The
cover.
PUD's already approved for rail
There's some
sign.
quirkiness to that PUD.
Do you have
For the
that,
height
Mike?
and storage?
Do you have that with you?
Well, we don't know what's
Yeah.
in it, that's what Don wants to verify.
Okay, all right.
I don't see the point in having an 8-foot fence and a 15-foot wall of stuff.
So if it got approved that way, it's approved that way. We don't know, Don's gonna check on it for the next meeting.
Here, it's businesses engaged in and requiring open storage shall maintain and house said items within a screened enclosure with height at least 8 feet high. Chain link fence shall be allowed, but if installed, the owner shall additionally add no less than 50% coverage of evergreen materials, no less than 6 feet in height on the exterior of the fence. Then it goes on to wood slat fencing shall be maintained and clean. Any bulk items housed in piles shall not exceed 15 feet in height, and any bulk items housed in piles in excess of 8 feet shall be covered so as to disallow transfer of particles onto adjacent properties.
It's pretty much a tarp. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about bulk items, we're not talking about pallets full of shingles and concrete and PVC pipe and the like.
Those are bulk items.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
they're bulk items.
Bulk is a pile, it's loose.
Yeah, okay.
depends how you interpret bulk. I mean, it may not be an exact clause that specifies what you're talking about, Jerry.
Well, it doesn't make it, if you understand, it doesn't make any sense, the way we're talking about it right now.
Depends what you're trying to screen.
Well, we're trying to screen it, but if we're gonna pile it higher than the screening, then,
If it fits into the criteria of the PUD agreement, it's legal.
I'm just trying to be clear on what was loosely discussed last week. And it's been brought to my attention that we have a screening height of 6-8 feet, and things could be piled higher than that, bulk items. Bulk is, again, bulk's not particularly clear, so Don, I would like, an engineer's interpretation on this in 2 weeks.
Okay. You'll have it.
Thank you, thanks.
Okay, any other discussion at this point? If not, then I need a motion to defer this for 2 weeks and to have a special meeting at the end of the work session.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Becker to have a deferral for 2 weeks and to March 5th, and special meeting, and seconded by Mr. Parker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfgang?
Yes.
Mr. Pecora?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Number 2, MacArthur School performance letter of credit expires February 19th, 2020.
Wait, we have one,
Skipped one.
number 1.
NIPSCO. Your agenda different.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Number 1, substation stormwater and erosion control plan. Owner petitioner, Northern Public Service Company, 801 East 86th Avenue, Maryville, Indiana, 46410. Cindy of 6816 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting site plan approval for a NIPSCO mobile substation. We have a petitioner.
She was gonna be here, she never got a Zoom link, so I see she just emailed me. I tried to send her my link, but she's not jumping on, so she's supposed to be here, but not. I don't know if it's her fault though.
Do you have a review done?
We do. We sent a letter on the 13th with recommendation for approval with 4 contingencies. And I'll read those off. First one is,
Should we wait on this until to see if she can come on?
She sent me an email, Cheryl and Cliff at 7:05, so
Either way, can we vote on this without a petitioner?
that's up to you.
Well, I got a question.
Probably.
Because, the person that lives to the east of them, that has the property to the east,
Wait, are we talking about the same thing? There's not a resident, or?
well, it's a property,
Okay.
and they wanted a piece of their easement.
That is a contingency. They
Right.
need easements on both sides.
Well, they're not sure why they want the easement and what the conditions, and they were afraid, they don't wanna sign nothing over it and hamper future development on their property, or hamper them to do anything in them, and they weren't sure, they're like, are they contacting the right person? They weren't sure.
So, number 4 on the letter is contingent on them either getting right-of-way or easements for on the east side of their development and on the west side to basically, that's where that 24-inch pipe's gonna stub out, to pick up that drain from the east and then outlet it on the west. So they have they kinda have their flared end sections kinda sitting off their property a little bit, and some of the tie-in grading, so they would need right of access in the form of an easement or some type of, document that allowed them to install that infrastructure.
Because they just showed them a picture of the heavy rock, the limestone
Yep,
rock.
riprap. Yep.
To put in there, and they weren't sure exactly what was going on. They said, when do you need to know? Oh, probably in a couple weeks. So they weren't
Well, I
sure,
mean,
so,
if that east parcel were developed, they would have to do something with that waterway as well. I mean, it essentially bisects that parcel as it sits now, drains all this area under Fairbanks and then northeast.
Is
So if
Mr.
they,
Holsty listening in? Is Mr. Holsty listening in?
Yes, he's on.
Do you see her Zoom link, Tim?
No, I do not. I don't handle the invites for Zoom, but I could look into it to see if she was invited to the session.
She said she never received the link, and her previous one from the meeting prior expired. That's what she says in her email.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll look into it right now.
Are we able to invite her now?
If I had her email address, yes.
I'll send it to you.
All right, thank you.
We'll move on to the next one, John, until we can get her on.
Yeah, let's move on, we'll come back to this one, the end of, after the next one. Number 2, MacArthur School Performance Center credit expires February 19, 2025, in the amount of $312,389. I believe that we need to discuss this. They came up with the proper forms for the extension of the letter of credit.
They have. They match the originals that were sent.
Right. And I believe that per your email, Mr. Austin, you want us to attach Don's letter
Yes.
showing
Showing the improvements to be made and the amounts remaining to be paid for which the letter of credit surety is based.
right, so we should just refer to this letter with any motions we make,
Catch it,
correct?
yes.
And that's the letter of February 16, 2025?
Our letter is June 3rd, 2022. It's the original approval letter that has the estimate on the back.
So 6/3/2022.
Yes.
Don, that's your letter report, it's on letterhead,
Yep,
has the date
yep,
and the amount.
yes,
That's what gets attached.
yep.
So that letter should be mentioned in the, any motions made.
And
There was a conflict on the forms they filled out. Mr. Conley got in touch with them, got the proper forms to them, or they came up with the proper forms. We received a letter of credit extending it. So all we need to do is approve it and mention this letter of Don's of June 3rd, 2022, with the dollar amounts and breakdown on it. Do we have any questions on that?
I do.
Yes.
I asked 2 weeks ago, there seemed to be a difference of design for MacArthur and the new Schillings building regarding low-pressure cutoff valve. Don, do you have any further information on that? Why wasn't that spec'd over at MacArthur, but it was spec'd at the Schillings building? It was both a sprinkler, they're both sprinkler system item, and I'd like to know who actually approved the MacArthur system and who approved the Schillings building.
That's an internal plumbing thing, so we never would have seen anything like that. Those would be part of the ME.
It was specified for the Schillings building, was a low pressure, when the pressure got so low, it would shut off the water to the building, so we weren't draining the system for the rest of the residences.
Again, that's an internal MEP thing, we don't see that, it's part of the building plan.
So Schillings did that on their own?
I don't know, Jerry. We don't review interior plumbing plans.
Well, it had to be required, wasn't it?
Tim, I don't know if you can answer that, but that's outside of my...
That was a requirement of the Schilling building due to the volume of water that it needed to, there was concerns with them draining the system down below 20 PSI, which is a boil order, so, with the size of that building and the demand on the water, it required something for protection. I was told that the school, probably with its proximity to the,
tank.
New water tank, that it probably is not gonna be the same problem, but it's yet to be determined when they do their testing for the fire suppression system, so.
Okay, which brings me to the question, is the money held, is there enough there to include the installation of such an apparatus?
That's not a public fixture.
This money has nothing to do with, one has nothing to do with the other, so. That would be, I mean, if it is a necessity, it would be a necessity in order to them, for their fire suppression system to pass and them to be able to use it, so, that was similar to what happened to the Schilling project. They could not get approval, so there was no, I mean, it's either put it in or you don't have
Okay,
to.
so this is a use issue that's on the school system.
Correct.
Yeah. Our public infrastructure stops at their B-box, so anything interior is private and up to them and up to building code.
Okay, that's all I need, thank you.
I can't remember what we were supposed to cite, if we were gonna make a motion to approve this. Is it the number on the letter of credit number 5489962?
Which is in our June 3rd, 2022 letter.
So that's not the right number?
What, the 300?
312,389.
Third page of our letter is 312,389.
I don't think we have it.
312,389.
You don't have it? Okay.
It's on our agenda.
$312,389.
Right.
And they've taken care of stuff.
I thought you said that letter. I don't
We have
remember
to
that
cite the
thing.
letter from June 3rd, 2022, but it has the amount of $312,389.
312,389.
Yeah.
Which is still the amount to be held.
That's more than what they need to cover everything, because they've taken care of some of the stuff. But they've never come in and asked for a reduction.
Right. There's been no reduction.
Mr. President,
Yes,
this is a point of order and pointed out by Councilman Carnahan. Jerry Wilkening's picture's not up on the screen. He cannot see us, we cannot see him. That's one of the requirements for remote participation,
To vote.
to vote. Not to participate like this, but to vote.
okay, so that he cannot vote because he doesn't have his picture up there? and we
He's
can't-
not zoomed in, so we can see him and he can see us. It's that visibility thing, that's in the code.
It's new. It's new for.
You can turn it on, can't you?
If he can turn it on, all's good.
Did you hear that, Jerry?
Can you turn the camera on the phone?
I'm on an iPad and I'm trying.
Okay, sounds good.
But prior to that, anywhere he voted, it's not official.
Fine.
Probably
Okay,
on the show.
is this dollar amount right?
That is correct.
Okay. Then, I'll entertain a motion to,
That's what I was trying to do before.
yeah,
I'm gonna, is this an extension or accept?
this has to be an
Extension.
extension, yes.
To make a motion
Yeah.
to,
For an additional period of time.
It's good till 2/16.
I'm gonna make a motion to accept the extension of the irrevocable letter of credit for $312,389. And it was extended till when, Terry?
I think February 19th of 2026,
26
I think.
That's, you're correct.
Yeah.
to February 19th, 2026.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Parker to approve the extension of this letter of credit in the amount of $312,389 till March 19th, 2026. Do I have a second?
Jim seconded.
second it.
Mr. Hyundai seconds it. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hundley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapur?
Yes. But I can't accept this vote, right?
He can now,
We
he's,
can see
We
him
can
on
see
right
him.
now.
See him?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, good looking dude.
You sure you're looking at him?
Motion carries 7-0.
Rachel is online now for, the mobile
Okay.
substation item. If you wanna
Alright.
run back up there.
Okay, let me go through this again. Number one is NIPSCO Cedar Lake Mobile Substation Stormwater and Erosion Control Plan. Owner petitioner, Northern Public Service Company, 801 East 86th Avenue, Maryville, Indiana, 46410. Vicinity of 6816 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting site plan approval for NIPSCO Mobile Substation. Petitioner's comments. Name and address first, please.
My name's Rick Redknapp, 801 East 86th Avenue, on Maryville, Indiana.
Okay, still there?
Thank you for having me. I apologize for the late login. I was out on lockdowns on the east side of the state and didn't think I'd make it in time before your meeting was over. So I did receive back comments that it looks like all of our adjustments to the plan have been accepted, and we're just waiting on the final easement acquisition now before we can finalize the entire plan set.
Okay, Don?
So we issued the letter on the 13th with those 4 contingencies. Those 4 contingencies are understanding the Plan Commission is in favor of granting the 1-lot subdivision due to the size of the lot and no permanent structure. Waiver from a permanent aggregate building pad on the property. Waiver from stormwater detention. In lieu of stormwater detention, 2 rain gardens will be constructed and the installation of a 24-inch RCP pipe to alleviate an existing flooding problem. They will be removing a 10 to 12-inch clay pipe that's connected into the 133rd system and diverting it down to the roadside swale instead. The fourth contingency is that this project has to procure or purchase parcels on both the east and west side to allow for some of their residual grading and some of the permanent pipe placement kind of along the property's edges. So if they can't meet 4, they would have to come back with a revised site plan.
I do know that we had, First Engineering meet with the landowner and another representative, and they just had some additional questions during the acquisition of their property for selling to NIPSCO, and it sounded like they were on board. So you guys should be seeing the finalized, acquisition come through here soon, it sounds like.
Well, Mr. Becker, do you, still have concerns about, what was your question about?
Well, she was just concerned about, you know, how much land, because she was unclear exactly, because she thought the pad was gonna be there. I go, no, I think it was just gonna be the drainage easement. And she didn't wanna have it affect her property if she wanted to do something in the future.
They have to sort that out before they can acquire the easement, and it won't, I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be contingent on 4 comments from Don, and it's their responsibility to do that due diligence, get those easements and bring it back, or it doesn't get
Approved.
Rachel, I believe they're talking about the east property adjoiner.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, as long as they-
you're good with it other than those contingencies, I'm certainly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with them. Well, let's go. Building department, do you have any questions or comments?
We can't vote on this, right? Or are we thinking about voting on this?
In order for them to go forward, we kinda have to.
Well, they have to acquire the property before,
It would be contingent on that. That's what you were suggesting, those 4 contingencies, correct?
That was number 4.
It's just the number 4 on getting the parcel.
Because I don't know how long, I don't know how long
Where's
it's
the
gonna take to
letter at?
procure that. Should be, is it not on here?
I don't see it.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Yes.
Don, how much does the plan change regarding the stormwater improvement to the west if they don't get property on the west side?
Well, they need it on both sides, east
If they
and
don't get it,
west.
they have to
How
come
much
back.
do they need on the east side, and how much do they need on the west side?
It's not a lot, it's more for the placement of their flared end sections coming out of that 24-inch pipe, and then some
What is
residual
it?
grading around it.
Okay, what is a lot, 6 feet or 16 feet?
Width?
What is it, yeah, whatever the distance is, yeah. You said not too much. What does that mean, 6 feet or 16 feet?
Probably somewhere between 5 and 10 feet on either side would be my guess. I mean, the lot itself is 99 feet wide.
I guess if Rachel, the representative from NIPSCO, had some kind of, memorandum of understanding, turned in with the plans, I'd be good with these contingencies, but as of right now, these contingencies it's just speech right now.
Jerry, to answer your question, the plans show approximately a 16 by 9 area on the east property line, and the west is not as clear, but I would guesstimate it at something similar.
Okay, Mr. Becker was saying earlier, if I understood correctly, that the east property owner, right now is not warm and fuzzy about this idea.
Yeah, the information that I received after the phone call meeting was they were on board, they just weren't sure what riprap was and what that was gonna mean or look like. And that was about the only updates that I got. They were just looking for a final dollar amount that they were hoping to acquire for us for that land.
Well, Rachel, you can't do anything unless you get the easements anyway, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So why don't we just wait on this group?
Well, it's the commission's decision. If they wanna wait or move forward.
I'm with you, Jerry, for what it's worth.
It's the same thing either way, they gotta bring it back if they don't get the easements. If they get the easements, it gets them into the permitting process, correct?
Correct. Any other discussion on that, comments?
Some contingencies, Mr. Parker, I'm good with. Other contingencies, not so much.
Everything Don stated was going to be my thought on contingencies, but, I mean,
They have to come back in because
he's the
we
one
had
that
to
studies
address their
this and
plan.
gives us a recommendation. I haven't been out there to look at it.
Well, the four items you mentioned, the gravel, the size of the one-lot subdivision, and what was the third one?
Stormwater detention and then
The stormwater detention.
easement
That was
acquisition.
all going, I'm okay with all that, it's just like figuring out the easement here. You know,
We don't have-
the only thing that would be contingent would be if they get the easement.
And it doesn't move forward without it. They know they gotta come back if they don't get the easements, so.
We don't have a number on what the easements are.
It just seems backwards to me. Normally it would be, we have the information, we have contracts for purchasing these easements contingent on town approval. It's like we're getting town approval without, I just thought it's backwards.
Normally, we're building structures and permanent things and things of that nature. This is just a NIPSCO substation.
It's still a site plan and, to me,
We
it's
don't
backwards.
have,
Well,
We
we're
don't have
other people's property, which they don't really have to grant the easements. So until they're comfortable with what they're granting to NIPSCO, it's a good point, you know, how much? Is it 10-foot wide, 5-foot wide, 20-foot wide?
I mean, 16 by 19 looks like is what they need on the east, and something similar to the west, just based on how far the flooded end section extends outside of their property boundary.
yes, but there's nothing submitted other than the easement. There's no numbers.
I'm trying to get there.
What number are you looking for, Jerry?
I wanna know how big the easements are they need to fulfill the plan that you think is gonna work well.
That's what I just said. 16 by 9.
Is that what they submitted?
I'm looking on their plans right now. I just showed it to Chuck.
Okay,
And it says easement required for flooded end section, and they have a 16 by 19 area laid out.
okay.
The west side is not as clear, but based on where the flooded end section is, I would imagine it's similar. It's probably 25 by 18, I think is what they're showing.
Rachel, are you willing to confirm those numbers right now tonight?
Yeah, I was trying to find the plans to confirm the numbers and the finalized version, and I realized I don't have AutoCAD on my computer to actually pull up their CAD drawings to get them. But honestly, I'm fine with whatever decision you guys want to come on. If you want to wait until the easements are actually acquired to approve the final site plan, that's fine. This is we obviously can't move forward until we have the easements anyways. So it's completely up to you guys how many times you want to keep revisiting the project, I guess, or having us show up for representation here with it. But like I said, we won't be able to move forward unless we have those easements.
So you can't confirm the numbers that Don just gave us?
I'm trying to look at the plans, but it's,
Okay. I'm big on the numbers.
What are those contingencies again?
What are the contingencies?
Yeah.
First one is waiver of one lot subdivision. Second is waiver of the permanent aggregate building pad. Second is waiver of stormwater detention in lieu of placement of 2 rain gardens and construction of the 24-inch pipe. And fourth is contingency on receiving the easements required to construct said 24-inch pipe on the east and west property owners.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the request of the site plan approval for NIPSCO mobile substation contingent on waiving the one lot subdivision. What was it for aggregate, Don?
Maintaining a permanent aggregate building pad.
Permanent aggregate in lieu of a building pad, waiving the stormwater requirements and receiving easements to the east and the west per the design.
They must have the easements. They have to acquire, right?
Per acquiring the easements to the east and the west per the design.
And the rain gardens for the storm drainage?
That's in the design.
Yeah.
I'll just reference our February 13th, 2025 letter.
And to reference Holy Christopher Burks, what's the date on it?
2/13/25.
February 13th, 25 letter of recommendations.
I'll second it.
I have a motion from Mr. Parker to approve this, request, contingent upon Don's letter of 2/13/2025, and seconded by Mr. Hunley. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
No.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
No.
Mr. Wilkeny?
No.
Mr. Kapora?
No.
9, 4 to 2, 4 to 3.
Motion fails 4-3. So I think the best thing to do is to, make a motion to defer this till the next, meeting.
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
To the work session or to the,
Why don't we let Rachel, the representative from NIPSCO, tell us when she has everything, and we'll get her in the work session or the meeting.
Well, I still think you have to defer it from this meeting.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have
for
to-
this meeting.
I don't know if you have to defer it to a specific date, but if you want her to return only when she has the easements, then that probably should be
It's not
part of
really
your
a
motion.
deferral.
Hmm?
That's not really.
I make a motion, we defer the
I don't
item.
know, how do you turn that, Dave?
I caught two different things going on.
you're deferring it to when?
Well, if it's plan commission's purview to essentially not see this petition again until they have the easements required, that's not a date. We don't know when that's gonna be.
That's actually my recommendation, leave it open until NIPSCO contacts you.
So
You concur with that, Jerry?
I totally agree.
That sounds good. From our perspective too, I can touch base with the land acquisition and get you guys a better date on when we think we're gonna be able to close that purchase.
Yeah.
I got a motion by Mr. Wilkeny to defer this until the easement, NIPSCO has, acquired the easements necessary to go forward with this project. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Dessauer. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkeny?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Update items,
We got one more.
NIPSCO Hagar Substation.
So this was on there just to get some clarification. NIPSCO replied that they don't think they need to do a one-lot subdivision nor adhere to the waiver request from the building moratorium in the town. So I was just getting your clarification that it's still Plan Commission's wishes to enforce both of those requirements.
What happened?
Can you take a roll call on that?
Hmm?
Can you take a roll call on that?
Can?
as to whether to allow them not to have a one-lot subdivision, or?
They have effectively come back in their response that says they don't believe that they basically are required to meet either one of those requirements.
I'd like Dave's opinion on that.
I've given that opinion in this meeting room before, relatively recently. There are two very strong positions about this matter. NIPSCO's position is they're exempt by regulatory rules of the Indiana Administrative Code from any land use jurisdiction of the town of Cedar Lake. That's what they claim, and that's what they maintain. My position is contrary to that. There is no law in the zoning and platting and all of the other rules that you use that give them that right to avoid and be exempt from your requirements. And I've given that opinion elsewhere.
This is the substation over by the Jennings building?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wasn't there a sliver of property they were not going to include in their project? It was kind of to the south and to the east. There was a sliver that they weren't including, like it was gonna be a separate lot or something?
No, so it's 3 parcels of land, lots 1 and
Okay.
2 are subdivided, 3 is not.
Okay, so they wanna use fully lot 1 and 2.
And 3.
And they wanna leave 3 vacant.
No, 3 is part of the development as well.
It was all part of,
Yes.
these are individual parcels.
Currently, there's 1 lot, and then one lot that is made up of 2 parcels, but it is subdivided. Well, actually, maybe it's not. Other way around. No? Wait a second.
I think it's 1 lot, it's subdivided.
1 and 2 are subdivided, I believe.
Don, are these the same items that were referenced in your firm memo of November 25th, 2020?
I believe that's the date of our first review, yes.
How did this turn into an update item?
Well, your previous direction at your February meeting, or your January meetings, was that they get a 1-lot sub. So
Right.
they weren't included in the February meetings because they needed an entirely different different application that they needed to advertise for.
So they just said, we're not doing any of it,
Yes.
here we are. Okay, well, this is crazy. How do we proceed?
Well, I think they need to do it.
Like, we're not voting because it's not an agenda item. So, but it's not, I don't understand how we proceed from this.
There's actually nothing in front of you. They
Yeah,
don't have a subdivision plat application in front of you,
I don't disagree with them one way, I don't agree with them or disagree with them on their stance. I do strongly feel that if we end up in litigation with them to litigate something that silly and spend taxpayer money on it, is just not a good use of taxpayer funds.
Well, we don't even have anything in front of us. We just have them saying we're not doing it, we're not showing up, and this is where we're at.
All they're saying is they don't wanna do the 1-lot subdivision.
Well, I don't wanna do all sorts of stuff.
Well, I mean, it is
That's
what it
right.
is, and again, we could get in court with them, that could last 2 years, and the judge say that they have the right to supersede, our,
Well, here's my question, why not just do it the right way that we're asking? Because they don't want us? I heard I don't want it.
I get what you're saying, I just don't feel it's worth litigating.
I'm
I
not-
just don't.
Greg, I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is usually it stinks to me, it smells. Why not, if you're gonna come into a town and do something, whether it benefits the town or not, that's not the
I understand
argument.
what, I understand.
Just let me finish, Greg. Do it the right way, or send someone here to explain to us why they don't feel they need to do it the right way.
Well,
We did some time here before, and utility companies and railroads have an awful lot of latitude. And we could spend some money arguing with them and not get a result. That's all I'm saying. And we got bigger fish to fry in my view, but
Or
I
again,
would just like to
it's
be the one
a,
to talk to them.
They were not asked to come, so I had this on there just so I can get clarification on how to proceed with the review. They have submitted a resubmittal. I just need some clarification on how to proceed, what direction to give them.
that's why I said we should just do a roll call, who's in favor and who's
Your
not.
most recent submittal dated January 2nd.
I believe that's correct, yes.
And what happened with that?
We have received a resubmittal. We received one shortly before the previous meeting. And that is where that is how we got the response to the subdivision requirement and the moratorium comment.
That's how I'm reading it also.
So, if that is the plan commission's wishes, then we will proceed down that path. They will be required to submit an application to this board for a one-lot sub, which they will have to advertise for.
I don't know how anyone else feels
Mr.
here.
President, two of us.
What's that?
Jerry's.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'd really like you to consider, and it's consistent with the advisement that I gave either here or the town council. Bob, was it town council, we talked about this too? That there's really a schism of thoughts here that really need a bridging. If they're coming in before you with a site plan, this is NIPSCO. This isn't, a young couple that's building their first home and don't know how to do it. This is NIPSCO. That we send Don Oliphant and the planning team here to a meeting with NIPSCO folks, and lay out the stuff and see what can be worked through. It's worthwhile to do that. Cost, time, efficiency, taxpayer. We can stand on the hill of ants and bad people, or we can find a way to avoid all that. And my suggestion is you do that, given what they're ready to talk about, it appears. Makes sense.
Well, to bring up Heather's point, is we have nothing here in front of us. If they so desire not to have a one-lot subdivision, and they feel as if they do not need to do a one-lot subdivision, then they should request a waiver as such before this commission, and not just, for lack of better terminology, hearsay.
That's exactly what should happen, and they have the opportunity to talk with our staff and our consultants about waivers.
And I would hope we could work out some sort of an agreement and, not have to go to court and.
Who's talking about court already?
Well-
Let's back off the court stuff.
I think Greg was.
Yeah,
talking
well,
about-
forget the court. Nobody's suing us yet.
Yeah, well, they'll end up spending money as well as us.
Do you want Terry and I to
That's
have a meeting with
understood.
them outside of this plan commission, or do you want them to appear at the next work session to discuss it in public?
Again, Mr. President, I recommend there be a meeting, and it be a candid meeting, and it be in a conference room somewhere, and get the air cleared or get it polluted, one of the two, you'll know.
Who's gonna have the meeting? Who's,
Well,
Don
your-
and staff.
Your planning director, your
Oh.
engineer, I mean, that's who belongs in those meetings.
fine, let's advise them of that and set it up.
Jerry has a question.
Mr.
Yeah,
President, a couple things. I do appreciate Don bringing this to our attention. They're willing to do the east side property project according to the rules. The west side, they don't think they should have to. When it came time to put utilities to the safety building, they wanted easements because they wanted it done the right way for electric and gas. Is that correct, Mr. Austin?
Yes.
So when they want it the right way, we're supposed to do it, and when we want it, when we consider it the right way, we're not supposed to want it. That's all I have.
Okay, well, then I think the meeting should be set up, and we'll take it from there and see what turns out.
Direct your staff to bring back more information for you.
Terry and Don get together.
Rachel will be in contact with some of your staff.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. I'm sorry I don't have into the project of this site.
Okay. Enough discussion? Okay, thank you. Is Mr. McSherry on the line?
In person.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were gonna be, Hi.
You know, it's a rare day
Bobby,
where,
where'd you
didn't
last
have to
night?
run kids around or anything, and,
Nowhere else you'd rather be than here with us.
you know what?
You're not listed
Much
under
rather be here in person.
updates here because we thought you were gonna be at the last meeting.
You know what, I looked through my email, I did not have any update for that, and it just slipped my mind, I really apologize for not being.
That's fine.
You're here now.
Yeah,
So you're in public comment, right?
yes.
Okay.
Public, no, it's, I'm not, yeah, okay, I'm in public comment. Yes, because he's not on the agenda. Go ahead.
You know what, just, working with, Mackey, we do have most of our responses to, the record drawing review. I am still trying to set up a, site walk again. I've had a couple of different requests to Wendy. I haven't gotten anything back from her.
Yeah, she told me today that you sent an email, so we'll get something lined up here. Hopefully it warms up a little bit next week.
You know what, just looking at next week and thinking that some of the snow should be gone, if we wanna try towards the end of next week, or even the following week, I think that'll help out, but just even something on the books just to do that, because there are,
Tentative plan.
yeah, there's a handful of home sites out there that have fences, that when we were going out there to try to do our repairs, I think as I mentioned before, they didn't want to let us in. So hopefully, having representatives from the town there will help that cause, and then we can get in there. There were a couple of comments, specifically one about a sidewalk that was 4 to 5 feet wide, should have been 8 feet wide. That was just an error on our part. We will absolutely, once, whether it's conducive for flat work, we'll take out the 5 foot wide sidewalk, put in the 8 foot, and do the necessary landscape restoration with that. The majority of everything else, I can forward you what Mackey had. It's not an official one, so I'm gonna be trying to wait till we have the official, but basically it's just getting the survey confirmation of all the work that we've done out there. So I think we're very close. I think once we're able to do that site walk, we can have our surveyors go ahead, work up with response to all the record drawings, and keep moving forward.
Any comments, Don?
Nope, we'll wait till we see something.
I have one.
Go ahead.
You have an unhappy homeowner in the room.
Is she here?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you to have a seat
Absolutely.
until she, makes her comments, and then you can respond to that, so.
There's, I think, 3 or 4 of them here.
That's fine, well, whoever's here, but, I want him to stick around, and then he can respond to those, okay? Okay, yeah. I watched the plan commission meeting town council meeting last night, so I did hear you and know what you're.
So I'll just give you kind of like the Reader's Digest condensed.
Yes, please, because
Yes,
everybody.
because of time and everything else. So I moved into Rose Garden,
Name and
the end of May of '23.
Name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pam Howard, 10013 West 141st Lane, Rose Garden Estates. The beginning of July, during my first load of laundry, water backed up in my laundry room. Katie from Lennar came out to help me take care of it. I have since then had continuous problems with toilets backing up, laundry room backing up. Lennar has told me everything from you're using too much toilet paper, you need to double flush, you need to triple flush, don't use wipes. I mean, you name it, they've given me excuses. The house is as is, because it was the model. Well, there was a hidden discrepancies clause that I found in the mortgage documents that says, no, this is not something that would have been found in a normal visual inspection or by a professional. I have a background in insurance, so I've worked with a lot of homeowners' claims and different things to know this. Finally, they replaced the toilets, thinking if they put in high velocity water, it would help. I didn't fully agree, but I'm going to play by how they want to do it. Then in September, they finally said, because it was still happening, we're going to have to either dig up your front room floor or go in from the front of the house and dig up the landscaping. I didn't hear anything. I reached out to Eric, and I'm like, hey, what's happening? What's the game plan? He got back to me and said that the Lennar plumbing people were going to have to come in and dig up the floor, not Allied, their plumbing company, who had been out 3 or 4 times. So I said, okay, let me know when. I heard nothing until I reached out to him on January 7th. He responded to me on January 8th and said, Allied, let me call Allied to see when they can come out. I've not heard anything since then. I've talked to an attorney, because I'm ready to the point where I want to press a lawsuit against them, to seek legal action, buy this house back, because I don't think the problem they're finding is gonna fix it. So, I also have a sidewalk in front of my house that was marked to be replaced. It hasn't been done, which is whatever, minimal. There was a spigot on the outside of the house that was installed upside down in the box. And I went back and forth with them forever until they finally agreed that I was right. So my battles with Lennar have been ongoing. Talked to many neighbors, many different people who have many of the same concerns. And something needs to be done with getting them to do and commit and follow through.
You mentioned last night, if I heard correctly, that you hired a plumber to come out and look at this?
Yes, I had it scoped.
And what was the results of that?
There's a belly in the line that solid matter collects in, like a dip. So the solid matter collects here, water will still go over until enough.
Is that out in the yard, or?
No, it's in the middle of my front bedroom on a slab.
Okay. Do you want to respond to that?
Absolutely. I handle the public improvements, the land development portion of it. I can't speak to the construction of the house, but we can definitely have people get in contact. It sounds like you've had some contact with
Do you
people.
want to see all the contact?
I believe you, but if it's not going anywhere, that's not right. And we will meet you. I will make sure that we have people meet you. We'll have the head of the Department for Customer Care as well as construction, that we can meet out there.
Is that Eric Ford?
No.
Okay, is Andre one of them?
Andre was a customer care representative. What I will do is I'll have Vince Ursetta. He used to be Andre's boss. He is now division manager of our Northwest Indiana operation. He comes from the line of customer care. We'll make this right. I mean, if there's a belly in the line that is not allowing effluent to be able to flow through it, then that is something that we need to take care of. So,
I'm not
stick
convinced
around,
that, I'm not convinced that that's the only problem, but that's
Okay.
what they've found so far.
Okay.
And that's my concern, is that this is gonna be ongoing. I
Well-
paid cash for this house in good faith, I've purchased a home, I was told it was as is because it's the motto, I get that. I get the staple holes in the walls and different things, I get that. But when it's a hidden discrepancy and they put me off for months, because either they don't know or they didn't wanna step up to it.
Okay. I've got some cards in the car. I'll stick around after the meeting, I'll give you the cards, and then we'll set up a meeting so that we have the right people that are there. And it won't be anybody that's gonna be handing you off to somebody else, and we'll have the heads of the departments there, and make sure that everything that needs to be taken care of is taken care of.
I know for sure you will.
I will make this comment, is over the last several months, we've been working with Mr. McSherry here, and he has actually done an upfront job of clearing up a lot of the questions and problems or concerns we had with that development. So I think you are talking to the right man right
I
now.
hope so. It's unfortunate it takes a year and a half to find out who to talk to.
I agree with you, yeah.
They're just totally non-responsive.
Okay, well, hopefully
Thank you.
this will solve your problem.
I hope so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Since he has been responsive, that's the reason why I suggested you talk to him.
I appreciate that.
He, before him, they weren't very responsive.
I know.
Sure. Any other?
Mr. President,
Please come up.
the ones I got here. John Hojek, 14550 Garden Way, Cedar Lake. The biggest problem we have in Lennar subdivision is our streets, our plows. I don't know who you're hiring, but they just tore up all the front part of the easements or between the street and the house. Part of it got my sprinkler system. The biggest part is we have so many school buses coming through there, and the police do a great job keeping an eye on speeders, except that plow people plowed all the handicapped corners where the kids get off, and there's a couple of special need children. So me and the neighbors went and they had to clean up all the ramps that you guys put in. So it's one of the problems that we have with Lennar. I know you guys have had a host of them. Things are getting a little better. I do see some improvements, but the ponds and stuff like that, we were all promised that the second pond and the third pond were gonna have sprinklers and all. They don't do anything. And then I don't know about this, maybe Don can answer this question. There's gray pipes sticking out all over the subdivision. They look like they were from maybe some electrical pipe.
Yeah. It's mixed up conduit.
What do they do with them?
Don't cut them off.
Okay. That answers that. I was gonna take a thought of it, but I don't wanna get elected.
It's a marker. So
Okay.
when they have the conduits underground, they put a marker up and
Uh-huh.
the material that they have.
Okay. The biggest thing is that the streets are terrible, and hopefully when you guys get in there, I know Cedar Lake does a great job with the streets, but right now, it's brutal. And we got a lot of kids in that subdivision, a lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Hojek, what was your address again?
14550 Garden Way.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
The other gentleman next to you, were you gonna speak?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
The gentleman next to you,
I'm sorry, I should.
Use your mouthpiece.
My name's Mike Paterno, I live at 10041 West 141st, I'm her neighbor. So I'm here, one, to back her up, to provide her support as far as her complaints, because they're real. I mean, she's got issues with sewage backing up in her home, inability to take a shower. Didn't you have to go today to take a shower at the YMCA in Crown Point? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. She pays cash for this home. This home is, what, 4 years old? It's the model home, and she's got to go through this? Lennar shouldn't be doing that. I know they're their biggest construction company in America, I guess, or one of the biggest ones. So issues like this, she shouldn't have these issues. I was going to call Lennar myself when I moved. My home is a model home that's right next to her home. And I had two issues with my home. One of them was the fact that I had the sprinkler system that was in the ground. Now, when I bought the home, there was this big plaque I got, and I was going to bring it today, but it said, hey, you've got a great irrigation system for your house. But when you sign the contract, it says there is no irrigation system with your house. And I said, well, wait a minute, what I was doing here? You got this big, beautiful plaque when I walk in the house, and you want me to buy it, and it's got this thing, you've got irrigation as part of the home. But when you sign the contract, there is no irrigation, and it's because when they put the driveway in, the pipe was cut, so there was no irrigation source. All right. And the other thing I had was the fact that homes on either side of me have got two outdoor faucets, and my home only had one. I wasn't even going to start doing that. I got the gray pipes, too, that you're talking about. I was wondering what that was for. I thought maybe that was for putting the second the second nozzle for the home, so I would have water, I could water the front and as well as doing the back, but I've only got one. So I guess my only point here is to say that there are some issues with Lennar, and I hope that you're really looking at these issues before Lennar finally gives the property over to Cedar Lake to take care of, because it is important. And there are more people that probably would have showed up tonight from our development in Rose Garden Estates that could attest to some of the things that are going on.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
I'm sorry?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You said the irrigation lines were in your house, but when they put the driveway in, they cut the line?
Yeah, that's what I was told, that once the driveway went in, the pipe was cut, so the irrigation didn't work, and I was confused, because when I went and first looked at this home, and I've been in the home now, but it'll be 2 years on Halloween. And when I moved in, wow, the home was absolutely beautiful, and it was the model home. So I've got more lights in my garage, and I've got more lights in my kitchen because it was the model home. And everything was really beautiful with it. And there was this big plaque hanging there, and it said, oh, you've got this big irrigation system. And then, of course, when I signed the thing, it said, this does not come with an irrigation system. And I was told the reason why is there is no irrigation system is because when they put the driveway in, they had to cut the pipe with it.
My guess,
that's
the model home before the driveway went in.
Do you have a controller? I mean, you have
my
something
guess
in
is
your
that
house that will control an irrigation?
when they put the driveway in, there's already sprinkler systems around the front.
No, there isn't anything. It was just, the only thing I have in my house with the irrigation is this nice thing that tucks, Lennar says, oh, you've got the Napa home and all the wonderful things that come with it, and this thing was irrigation. And of course, I didn't have it.
I mean, if you don't have a controller with it.
I wouldn't even know what a controller would be if I'm looking for something with it, because I've never had a home that had this system. My only thing of bringing up was just saying that they said I was supposed to have it, but I don't have it.
Sure.
And I've only got one outside faucet instead of two. Now, the guy next to me, he's got one in his garage and one outside, and I only have one. So my thing is that I was coming here to support Pam, but also to say just to make sure that before Cedar Lake takes over
Rose Garden Estates, that everything is supposed to be there is fact is in place.
That's gonna be the attempt.
Sir?
That's gonna be the attempt.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
You're going to give all them cards?
Yes.
Okay, he's gonna give you copies.
Anybody online?
Nope.
No further comments. This meeting is adjourned at 8:32.